Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It is Minky, and we move on with Aesop. Aesop. I always say it wrong. So this one is going to be, I'm not really even going into an order. It's more of, my friend gave them to me or let me borrow them, and so they're color coordinated, so I'm starting from the lightest to the darkest. Why? I don't know. So there you go. There's no method to my madness ever. So I don't know what it's called. If it's Hwyl, I think it is. Hwyl is the name. Very interesting. And so let us look at this. So this will cost you $190, and it's an intriguing fragrance reminiscent of an ancient hinoki forest. Mist rising above the treetops, damp soil, thick moss, and soft bark, mineral deposits in a hot spring, complete stillness and solitude. So that sounds lovely. Now, from my understanding, this is one of the more popular scents. My friend talks about these things, so I know a little bit of what is popular and what isn't. Yeah. So the aroma is smoky, woody, spicy, suited for all genders, free thinkers, eccentrics, wanderers. Key ingredients: cypress, frankincense, and vetiver. Interesting. Now, I do like to look at another site for the notes, because from my understanding, Aesop doesn't like to put all of them out there. I don't know why. So there you go. But that's the way it is. So the top notes says spices and thyme. Now this could be wrong too. This is from another site. Middle notes are cypress and woody notes, and base notes vetiver, olibanum, and oak moss. So this is going to be very woodsy. This is going to be very grounded. I could tell that right now. I'm sure I've smelled this before. My friend wears them all. I don't know if he wears this one as often though. I think he does, because I recognize the smell. But here we go. Let's bring on that fall woodsy goodness. Yeah, I've smelled this on him before. It smells very different, of course, on me than it will on him. Oof. Okay, it started calm at first, and it got really strong, and I laughed and I ate it. Ooh. I got a big old mouthful of that one. Oh. Yeah. Doesn't taste great. So interesting. You know what I'm almost getting from this is smoky woods. Like, I'm definitely getting the cypress coming through. Definitely getting that. But it's a very distinct scent. But what I'm getting is a smokiness to this. Almost like, this reminds me, and I'm a very visual artistic person. So when I was a kid, I have a whole story about this if you want to check out Clue Perfumery. Morel Maps will talk about this. But basically when I was a kid, I used to help do wooding, like cording wood and stuff. Yeah, farm. And it was my grandparents' place. I'm kind of a city kid, but you know, I was put onto the farm to do some work. And they would burn wood in a wood burning stove, but sometimes also like outside you were allowed to do wood burning certain times a year to get rid of things. And so you get rid of stuff, you'd burn it, and it was only allowed on certain dates and things like that. And this is what it smells like. It kind of reminds me of, it's not just the woods, it's a smoky woods. So I'm getting that smoky vibe from it. It really is like a wood burning stove, which I had as a kid, or it was at my grandparents' house, it was at my house. That was our only heating source, and let me tell you, it does not heat well. It was so bad. But anyway, it's taking me back to those days, laying under that thing going, please heat me up. But it's definitely that smokiness of it. It's walking around the woods and somebody's burning something in their yard, like leaves or things like that. Very much getting that. So it's actually perfect for fall, because we're now into fall. And so this is the perfect scent of walking through the woods as a kid and smelling the leaves and small twigs being burnt up during those designated days. I don't know if it was designated everywhere, but I know in summer you can't do that, so it had to be like wet and things like that. But anyway, I definitely am getting that. The cypress. Getting the vetiver. Yeah, the vetiver is coming through more on my skin than on the clothing, so I get that smoky woodiness here, but I'm getting that along with cypress and vetiver on my chemistry. Interesting, but let's try it on the clothing. That smoky woodiness is coming out on the clothing. The vetiver and woodsiness is coming out on my skin, which the vetiver kind of brightens it up a little bit. It gives a little bit more brightness on my skin than it does on the clothing. So maybe that vetiver will come out a little bit later, because in cloth it really gets in there, and skin it moves a little bit faster because it has that heat and the natural fiber. So there you go. But ooh, this one's nice. Very nice. I can see why people like this one. It's so comforting. It really does feel like you're wearing like wool and walking through a forest at the beginning of fall when it's finally gotten cool. This is just so reminiscent of that and my childhood in the mountains of my grandparents' house. I know this smell. I know the smell well, and oh, that's lovely. So what I'm going to do, because it's staying pretty much in that pocket, is I'm going to check back in an hour, because I do think this one will morph a little bit, and we'll see where this one goes. But I can see why it's a winner. I can see it. Okay, so it has been an hour, and I can definitely still smell this one. This one is very potent, but not in a bad way. I don't like saying potent because then it makes it sound like it's it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it is a very strong scent. As well, the other ones so far have been a little bit more quiet. So, definitely getting that woodsiness still coming out. Strong woodsiness, that cypress is coming through. Definitely getting that. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of that woods and cypress. For me, cypress is a note that really comes out. It's one that I know pretty well because of one fragrance that I used, and it was from Aloria, the one that has cypress. It was a bit too strong for me. It was earth. And it does work well for earth, but because of that, it's one that I'm very much aware of, because for me, that one didn't work as well as this one is. This one's actually quite nice because it's using it in a more gentle way. And I think what's helping you is the oak moss is starting to come out, which kind of, to me, kind of mellows it a bit and sweetens it. Not that oak moss is sweet necessarily, but there's a little bit of a sweetness coming through, so it's not quite as plodding as earth was from Aloria. This is a little bit more uplifting, and I like it. I do like this one, but let's try it on the chemistry. Vetiver. My body loves vetiver, apparently. It's vetiver and oak moss and that cypress. A little bit of that smokiness, but the vetiver really cuts through immediately. I'm very much aware of that, but let's try it on the clothing. That smoky woodsiness. That's what's coming through on here, is that smoky woodsiness that I originally smelled. Very smoky, very woodsy, very earthy in that way. What's nice about this is between my chemistry and the clothing, it's mixing really nicely, which is interesting because sometimes with chemistry, doesn't work well for my chemistry, but it works well in the clothing, or vice versa. These are really complementing each other, and I like that, because sometimes it could be like, nope, and it's like, oh boy, I like this, but ooh, or the opposite, where it's like, ugh. This is perfect because there's that sweetness and brightness with that earthiness on my skin, but here it's that smoky woodsiness, and so the two combined are quite lovely. So this one's still, this was a stronger scent, but it's still out there, so this one is working really nicely. We're gonna go for the 5-hour mark. I do find that Aesop does tend to need a refresher around 3.5, 4-hour mark. We'll see how this one goes, because I'm not really sure, but this one's really nice. This one's really nice. So what we're going to do is we are going to check back in 4 hours and see where this one goes. Okay, so it has been about an hour and I could definitely still smell this one. This one's really nice. It definitely, I get that cypress, a big cypress note from it with the wood and still a little bit of that smokiness and the vetiver coming through, but I think that's the combination of both. If you like longevity, this one I think of the three that I've tried is the one that has lasted the longest. I do two here, but you could always do more, and I think it would definitely last 6-7 hours if you went in with more, but just know this is one of the stronger scents, so it's going to follow you a bit. But this one I could definitely smell, and you know, it's really nice. I can see why this one's popular. But let's check it. Yep, definitely vetiver. Vetiver and cypress and wood. It almost has like a cinnamon scent to it. That's interesting. It does say spices, but I get a little bit of cinnamon, at least on my chemistry, which is kind of, it's sweet and spices it up a bit. But let's try it on the clothing. Definitely that woodsiness. Definitely it's a little bit sweeter. There's a little bit of a sweetness to it, but it's that smoky woods with cypress and not so much the vetiver. That's my body chemistry, but the oak moss coming through. Not as much oak moss here, more oak moss, cypress, and smoky wood here with a little bit of sweetness. Well, here, vetiver, woods, and cypress. Very interesting scent. Gosh, I kind of like it. I like where it's taking me because it's perfect for fall. So good for fall. So definitely not one that you would probably wear in spring and summer. But as I always say, wear what you want, when you want. But this one is a little bit heavier, so you may want to go lighter with it because of that. I also would say, I don't, you know, wear what you want. Everything is unisex. These are unisex, but if I was going to put it into a category, I would say that some may say that this leans a little bit more masculine because of the woodsy, smoky scents, but I would wear it again. I would wear this one for sure. I might add a little vanilla on it because I add vanilla on everything. It's my scent. Just to add a little bit of that sweetness, I might do it, but it would definitely change what it is by doing that. But this is one that if you wanted to make it lighter, you could definitely spray like something light, one note to layer it. But this one's really nice and definitely one of the strongest. I have cat fur on me. That's what it is. I kissed my cat before this. So I was trying to be all like, nobody will notice. But this one's definitely one of the stronger ones of the collection. But I think this is only number 3, so we have more to go. But yeah, very interesting. I like this one. I like the memory that it took me on, which is walking through the woods, you know, or working in the mountains with my family on the farm. This one definitely takes me back. It's not like Morel Map, which is a little bit more of a green scent where I had that memory. That's the greenery of it. This is more the woodsiness and the smokiness, and it took me back. I'm right back on that farm with my family, and that's kind of cool. I love how fragrances do that. But yeah, just wonderful. So if I were going to rate this smoky, woodsy, wonderful fall cozy scent, where would I put this? I think that I would definitely put this in, I don't know why, a 7.8. Why not go to an 8? Because I don't want to. It's good. It's fantastic. But I don't know if it's quite 8 level. I'd give it a 7.8. I need to manifest a little bit more on that, but it's good. I know I could give it an 8, but I'm giving it a 7.8. And it is fantastic. I think the only reason why I didn't give it an 8 or 8.5 is just for me, I would like a little bit of sweetness or something to break up that smoky heaviness of the wood. But I never really got that except for my wrist, where the vetiver came through a little bit. But it's really well blended, really well put together. But I think for me, I tend to like a little bit, something with a little bit more light on top. I don't tend to go for the heavier scents. So, but if I was, this is a really good pick. I just tend to like sweeter, sometimes lighter scents at times. So that's the reason. It's 100% because of my wants and desires. So there you go. It's selfish, but there you go. This is a solid thumbs up scent though. So far, this one is probably my favorite of the group. It's fantastic, and I can see why this is a fan favorite. So yes, that is number 3 of Aesop. Not Aesop, I say Aesop. Aesop. So I'm excited to see where the rest of them go. Though some of them I do know. Some of them I already know. But this one I didn't know as well, though I smelled it on my friend. And I always went, oh, something smells good. Very nice. Yep. So with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.